Hi, welcome to Cooking from the Heart. We have a very special show today. We're filming this in March, which happens to be Colon Cancer Awareness Month, and the wonderful people at Centera Cancer Network have offered to help us shop for and prepare some delicious, healthy meals that will help you whether you're battling an illness or you just want to be your healthiest self. Let's go inside.
Kick it.
Nicole.
Hey.
Hi, I'm Karen.
Nice to meet you.
It's such a pleasure to meet you too. I am so excited about what we're doing today. So tell me, what is your involvement with Centera Cancer Network?
I'm a clinical dietitian with the Centera Cancer Network.
Okay, great. And what does that mean? What do you do specifically?
I help patients make sure they're meeting their nutrition needs, not losing weight, maintaining weight, and I work with a multidisciplinary care team in the Centera Cancer Network.
Well, I'm very excited to meet you today because on my show, we are really focusing on cooking healthy. It's so important these days. And I thought, what's the best place to start? But from square one at the grocery store with an expert, even better. And so I wanted to ask you, what is the biggest misconception that you found that people have about eating healthy and grocery shopping?
Probably people's misconception is they can't buy healthy food at a regular grocery store, but they can. We're in Kroger in the Western Tidewater area right now, and so I'm going to show you that you can buy healthy at just a normal grocery store.
It's accessible to everyone.
Yep.
Great.
Let's go.
All right. Now, I know I'm busy a lot, so I can't go to the grocery store every other day. Can I use frozen or canned vegetables? Are they just as good?
Yes. People think you can't eat frozen or cans, but you're still getting the nutrition benefit from that. So absolutely, you should try frozen and canned, and they also last longer.
I have a stockpile at home,
Yep.
so I'm glad the expert has now told me this is a good way to go.
Let's go to the frozen section and I'll show you.
Perfect.
Okay. That's a great choice. Frozen blueberries. And they're organic, but
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Bonus.
but they don't have to be. If it's a better option to get the non-organic frozen, at least you're getting in your fruit and vegetables. So we're in the canned aisle, and I just wanted to show you some good selections of canned fruits and vegetables and beans. So when you're trying to pick out canned fruits, I would avoid the canned fruits and the heavy syrup.
Okay.
Either choose the cans in the fruit juice or the light syrup.
And then what about beans? Are there any that are better?
Beans. So healthy for GI health and for heart health. And they're inexpensive, they're convenient.
My big question to you is to meat or not to meat?
I would definitely say eat your meat, but as long as it's a healthier meat, which would be your white meats.
Chicken?
Doesn't mean you can't have the dark meats. It just means they're higher in fat and saturated fat.
Okay.
So I would trim the fat off.
Sure.
If you're going to do beef, I would limit it to 1 or 2 times per week.
Now what about ham and bologna, those processed meats like lunch meats and stuff?
Yeah, I would really limit or avoid processed meats as much as possible.
But you don't have to get rid of meat, so we can eat meat. Yay!
Yes, lean meat.
So a big question that I have is about milk. A lot of people are having milk issues and they can't drink milk. What do you do in that situation?
So if you can drink milk, you would need to do low-fat milk, which is 1% or 0%.
Okay.
If you're lactose intolerant, you just need to find a lactose-free milk. So it's ready, available.
Oh, so
Yeah.
you can drink milk. It's just
It's broken down
Modified.
for you.
okay,
Yep.
great.
So if you're lactose intolerant, you would buy lactose-free milk. It's just easier digested, already broken down for you.
And I'm assuming, do they have lactose-free ice cream? And,
Yep,
okay,
everything.
and cheese and all
Mhm.
of that?
The only thing that doesn't need to be lactose-free if you're lactose intolerant is yogurt. It's naturally
Oh,
lactose-free.
I did not know that.
Mhm,
That's really
mhm.
good to know. Great.
As well as cheeses. Cheeses should be low-fat.
Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
Jeez,
Always
that's
choose.
that's my downfall.
The key rule is to buy low-fat dairy, low-fat cheeses, low-fat ice cream.
And it'll just be right there on the label.
Yes.
Right? So you really
It's
need
just
to make sure you're looking at those labels.
Yep.
Huge. Really
It's
key.
just decreasing the milk fat.
Okay.
So
Okay. Now, what about like almond milk and cashew milk? Are those as good as milk? A lot of people replace them. Is that
Yep.
a viable option or not so much?
I get asked this a lot. So the only time I would say you can't drink milk is if you have a true milk allergy. Therefore, then you would need to take a calcium supplement. The cashew, the almond, all the other peanut, other milks, I would not replace with my milk. I would just add them to my diet. The only one that is really a good source of protein is your soy milk. The almond milk and all the other ones aren't a good source of protein. So another healthy dairy product would be yogurt.
Oh, okay.
There's a large selection of different kinds of yogurt. Yogurt is so healthy for GI health because of the cultures it contain. It replaces the good flora in your intestine.
And it's good if you're taking antibiotics or something to
Oh
eat
yeah,
that, right?
yeah, because sometimes antibiotics can, maybe make you go more often. So like again, it reestablishes the normal flora in your GI tract.
As a mom, one thing that I love now is that they're really starting to market yogurt to kids. You have like the cool little tubes or the little cups with their favorite cartoon character on. When I was growing up, it was just like an adult thing that my mother ate, but now everybody eats yogurt. Like all my daughter's friends eat yogurt, and it's great.
I think incorporating yogurt into kids' diet is important. It's so healthy. It's given them a taste for how yogurt tastes, so they will eat it in their adulthood, just a part of their normal healthy diet.
So Nicole, this is what you do then for Centera Cancer Network, right?
Yes, Centera Cancer Network provides excellent individualized patient care. Like the Centera Bell Harbor down the road, or any Centera for that matter.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much. You have given me so much information, and I can't wait to take all of this knowledge and make some really healthy, delicious foods. Thank you again so much.
You're welcome.
Wow, I learned so much today. Now, don't forget, when you're grocery shopping, shop the perimeter. Make a list and stick to it, and don't go grocery shopping when you're hungry. Don't forget, you can use frozen fruits and vegetables. And when you're looking at meat and dairy, make sure to buy low fat. And very important, read your labels. You're going to get so much information on those. Now, after the break, I have a very special guest who's going to help me prepare some delicious, healthy meals that you're going to love.
Centera Cancer Network.
I put off my colonoscopy thinking I'd never get colon cancer. When I heard the diagnosis, I knew I needed the nationally accredited Centera Cancer Network. Because when it comes to treating colon cancer, it takes a network of trusted physicians with a proven track record and advanced technology and treatment, like minimally invasive surgery and clinical trials.
Skill, experience, technology. The 3 words to remember for one you never want to hear. To learn more, call 888-220-2214.
And we are back in the kitchen. I had a fantastic time earlier this week learning how to shop for really healthy food at a typical grocery store. And I am ready to take that knowledge and put it into action. Now, here to help me today, I have a very special guest. I have Dr. Gowder, who is from Virginia Oncology Associates, which is part of Centera Cancer Network. Thank you, Dr. Gowder, for joining me. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Me too.
Are you ready to do some cooking?
Yes.
Well, we are going to start with a very healthy overnight oatmeal. So, as we get started, we're going to start with oatmeal. And these are old-fashioned oats. Let me stick this over here. These are not the quick cooking oats, which a lot of people use. You need to use the old-fashioned. And it's very simple if you remember a quarter cup. That's kind of our main measure. So I'm going to ask you to put a quarter cup of these oatmeals into each of these little mason jars. And these are going to be great because you're going to shake it up at the end and pop them in the fridge. It's super simple. Oatmeal first, a quarter cup. So tell me, doctor, what exactly is an oncologist?
So a medical oncologist is someone who takes care of patients who have cancer. And most of what we do involves seeing patients who have cancer and chemotherapy treatment. But my role is a little different. I'm actually a cancer prevention specialist. So most of my patients don't have cancer. They're at higher risk for some reason. It could be family history, it could be genetic mutation. And our goal is to focus on screening and prevention and trying to keep them from ever needing chemotherapy.
Great. Well, as we continue with our oatmeal, the next thing we're going to add are chia seeds. And these are these little tiny seeds They are incredible. They're a superfood, and what they do is they suck up water, and they about 20 times their weight in water, and they become kind of a gel. So if you can add 1 tablespoon to each of those. Another thing, I would start with a tablespoon or maybe even half a tablespoon when you first start eating chia seeds, because your body is adjusting to all this fiber. If you do more than that, your friends might be a little unhappy with you during the day. We are going to make these a bunch of different ways. So it's not just one recipe. You can really customize these according to what you like. And this is where you kind of have to work fast. So let me get everything situated here. And tell me a little bit about how you screen for cancer.
So the number one best test for screening for colon cancer is colonoscopy. You know,
Ooh, I've heard about that. I haven't had one done yet, but I know I need to.
which is true. And the key thing to know is colonoscopy is absolutely the number one best test, because not only can you screen for colon cancer, you can prevent it as well. Over time, everyone's going to have a little extra growth in the colon, a polyp. Some of them might turn into cancer. We don't know which ones will and which ones won't. But if you have a colonoscopy and the doctor sees a polyp, they'll take it out and you don't have to worry about it anymore. The biggest thing that I want folks to think about is I want every adult to know, when is your next colonoscopy or your first colonoscopy due? Because that number can be different for every different person. It's not the blanket 50-year-old recommendation.
I thought it was like 45, 50.
Yeah, so I mean,
go in.
some groups, American College of Gastroenterology talks about potentially starting screening African Americans at 45. But the biggest driver of whether you need a colonoscopy sooner is if there's a heavy family history of colon cancers or related cancers, or if you have some kind of concerning symptoms.
Oh, great. So to this chia and oatmeal, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of milk. You can use regular cow's milk. I like to use either almond milk or cashew milk, because cashew tends to be a little more creamy than almond milk, but they're fewer calories and they do have a lot of calcium. So if you wouldn't mind pouring a 1/4 cup, this is almond milk, in there. And then to that, we're going to add a 1/4, just scoop it on in there, a 1/4 cup of yogurt. All right, it gets a little messy. And then this is my favorite one. I call it my pina colada oatmeal. You're going to add to that a tablespoon of shredded coconut. And shredded coconut does tend to have more sugar.
Does it need to be packed? Or?
No, that's fine. But since you're only adding a tablespoon, it's not so bad. And then we're going to get that 1/4 cup again. We're going to add a 1/4 cup of pineapple to that. And then for a little added sweetener, I like to add maple syrup. You can add a couple of teaspoons if you want. I like one. For me, it's enough. And I'm going to close her up and give it a shake. You can stir it if you like. You can shake it. But the nice thing about these little jars is you close them, and that's it. You're going to put that in the fridge for about 6 hours. And you can see the little dark spots. Those are the chia seeds, and those are going to get big. But everything's going to get nice and soft. That oatmeal is going to get soft and really infused with the flavor of the pineapple and the coconut. So let's just put together a couple more. So what might be some signs I would look for that would, cause alarm and make me think I need to go to the doctor and check this out?
One of the main signs is abdominal pain.
Oh.
Or changes in having bowel movements. Changes, things like more constipation or pain with having a bowel movement or blood in the stool.
Oh, that's scary. Okay, so now we're going to do one that's a little bit different. I'm going to add some cocoa powder, actually. You're going to add some cocoa powder to that and give it a stir. And that's just going to give it a nice chocolatey flavor. One thing you can do is you can take flavored yogurts already. I'll give you that to stir it with. And really mix it in, because those chia seeds are going to start to get a little hard.
And how much cocoa powder is this?
That was 1 teaspoon. And since that cocoa powder can be a little bit bitter, I'm going to add a little bit more of the maple syrup. And then if you can add that milk in there, almond milk, there. But yeah, I like to use raspberry yogurt sometimes, or strawberry yogurt, just put bananas in there. And then you don't have to put any sweetener at all, because that yogurt is pretty sweet. To that, speaking of bananas, we're going to add, about a 1/4 cup. You can always add more of the fruits if you want. I just kind of like to do about a 1/4 cup of each, because I don't want to add too much sugar. You can overdo the sugar and fruits as well. So I like to kind of keep it relatively, no more than half a cup for me. And then I'm also going to add a tablespoon of almonds to give it a little bit of crunch, because the bananas are really soft, and so I like to have a little bit of something in there. So I'm going to pull this out, and let's get the lid on there and shake her up. We're almost done.
That was quick.
It took me a little while to get used to, because you think of oatmeal and you think it's going to be nice and hot, but they're cold. You pull them right out of your fridge. But after probably the second day eating them, I was hooked, and I have to have them every day. Let's get going on the last one. This one is a little bit different because we're going to use, instead of the yogurt, we're going to use applesauce. So this is a 1/4 cup of applesauce. It's the same amount as you would use for the yogurt. I'm just going to dump that in there. My spoon's a little bit dirty, but that's okay. A little chocolate never hurt anyone. Okay, and to that I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of apples. If you wouldn't mind just kind of, but I think that's just a little bit over a 1/4 cup, so you can dump that whole thing in there. Oh, you know, I almost forgot. Because this is applesauce and not yogurt, I am going to add a tablespoon of this almond milk to it, just to give it a little bit more liquid. And the applesauce is actually a cinnamon applesauce, so it has a really nice flavor to it. And we're done. You do the honors, and yogurt hand. I'm going to clear this off while you do that a little bit. Get some room. What can you tell us as far as preventing it?
So one of the biggest things we talk about is exercise. And you know, the spoiler is that things to help you prevent colon cancer is basically what your mother told you when you were growing up. And now it just comes recommended by people like the American Cancer Society. So
yeah, when it's your mother, you just never really give it too much credence, right?
But it turns out she was right. So
it goes fast.
2.5 hours of exercise per week, ideally. Split up any way you want. It could be one marathon day. It could be 20 minutes every single day. And then diet is a big part of colon cancer prevention.
Everything in moderation, right?
Exactly.
So these you would put in the fridge overnight or for 6 hours, and this is what they're going to look like. If you wouldn't mind passing me those, we can get those. I want to reach over you. And then what I like to do in the morning is to just put a little bit of granola on there, just to give it a little bit more of a crunch. So there is a spoon for you, and just pick which one you want to try.
And so this is pineapple.
Pineapple and coconut. And you can make these any way you want.
Well, that's really good.
Isn't that good? See, and then you can see the little chia seeds have kind of grown in there, and just you can customize it to whatever fruit you want. And this is enough to really fill you up. It kind of expands when you eat it. So what do you think? Think you'll try these at home sometime?
Absolutely.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much for all of your information. And when we come back, we're going to work on some lovely lentil stew.
Sounds great.
Great. After the break, Dr. Gowder is going to help me prepare a lentil dish that your family is sure to love. Don't go away.
Centera Cancer Network.
I put off my colonoscopy thinking I'd never get colon cancer. When I heard the diagnosis, I knew I needed the nationally accredited Centera Cancer Network. Because when it comes to treating colon cancer, it takes a network of trusted physicians with a proven track record and advanced technology and treatment, like minimally invasive surgery and clinical trials.
Skill, experience, technology. The 3 words to remember for one you never want to hear. To learn more, call 888-220-2214.
If you're just joining us, we are focusing today on colon health. And here to help us with that is Dr. Gowder from Virginia Oncology Associate, which is part of Centera Cancer Network, right?
Yes.
Now, tell me a little bit more about that.
So our network is a group of cancer specialists, and our goal is to provide very cutting-edge, world-class care to our patients and neighbors here in Hampton Roads.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, today we are cooking for our colon. We are going to make, either for lunch or for dinner, a lentil stew. We're going to put that on top of a bed of polenta. So I want to get my pot going first, and we're going to put that on about a medium high, like an 8 out of 10 if you have the numbers on your dial. Well, I like to try to get as much nutrition and fiber and all of that into my family through our food, but I know you can also take supplements. While we talk about that, let's add the 2 teaspoons of olive oil. I'm just going to add that to our pot. What do you think about fiber supplements as opposed to getting it through your daily diet? Which is better, or are they the same?
My view is that getting all your vitamins, nutrients, supplements, getting your macronutrients from your food is always better absorbed and better for you. So you always will do better if you are getting things through your diet. It sort of forces you to have a wide variety of foods in your diet.
And it tastes a lot better too. Our oil is nice and hot, so we're going to put these carrots in there. This is 2 medium carrots. So it comes out to about half a cup of carrots. And I'm also going to add either 1 small onion or half of a medium onion that I've diced pretty small. I like to make the chops really small because it cooks faster that way. Now, Doctor, you were talking to me about Lynch syndrome, and I had not heard of that before. What exactly is that?
So Lynch syndrome is one of the most common inherited cancer syndromes. It actually affects about 1 in 400 Americans. So if you do the math, we're talking about close to 4,000 residents of Hampton Roads.
Oh, wow.
The issue with Lynch syndrome is you have a problem with DNA repair. You have a problem with the proofreading system of your genetic code. And with that, you can acquire mutations and build them up much faster than other people, and you're prone to developing colon cancer especially very quickly.
Oh, wow. That's something good to check for then.
Absolutely. And so patients who have a strong family history of colon cancers or some related cancers, we'll see them and talk about the best way to screen them for Lynch syndrome and how to keep them healthy.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic that you can do that kind of screening now. Now to this is nice and hot. I'm going to add about 4 ounces of lentils, which is about half of a cup. Just going to put that right in there and kind of stir it around. And then I have some vegetable stock, 5 cups. If you wouldn't mind passing me that. I'm just going to, if you can just pour it right there on top. Whoa. I do that all the time. Okay, and I'm just going to let that come up to a boil. Let me dry that off real quick. Now our lentils are boiling and we're getting a nice steam bath here and it smells so good. And to this I'm going to add even a little more nutrition. We're going to add some quinoa. Do you cook with quinoa or do you eat quinoa?
A little bit, yeah.
It's delicious. I use it in soups a lot and it's actually a super grain. But it's important to know that you need to rinse your quinoa when you get it because it has a coating on it that has a very bitter taste. So you want to take it, even if it says it's rinsed, I always put it in a strainer, run it under water for a little bit until the water runs clear. And I'm also going to add, that was a 1/4 cup of quinoa. I'm also going to add a 1/4 cup of barley. I'm trying to get as much kind of fiber and texture in there too because you want to eat something that has a nice kind of chew to it. So once that is all stirred in, I would let it sit for about 15 minutes. I'm going to turn the heat down to about a medium low, like a number 4. And if you want, pass me that red lid. I'm going to cover that and let that cook for a little while. And right at the end, I'm going to put in some kale, which is going to add just more calcium, more iron. It's so good and so healthy for you. Now it's been 15 minutes, and our quinoa and barley are starting to get nice and soft. Our lentils are starting to get soft, and we are ready to put in some of this kale. And actually, if you don't like kale, you can use spinach as well. I like to alternate them out so you get some variety. And you could even mix them both in there. And I'm just going to put it right on top. It will look like a lot, but the heat is really going to wilt that down. But it just looks healthy, doesn't it? With all the green and the orange from the carrots. Get that going. And then what you're going to do is you're going to cover it, put it on low, and let it cook for about 25 minutes. Because you really need time for those lentils to absorb that liquid and to become nice and soft. While that cooks, I'm going to scoot it over, and we're going to work on our polenta, which is going to be the bed for this delicious lentil stew we're making. So excuse me 1 second. Slide that over there. Okay, and in here I've got 3 cups of water. I'm going to bring those to a boil, and I'm going to add about 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So for polenta, it's called kind of like almost a mashed potatoes, but it's made out of corn. It has a little more texture to it. And since it's made out of corn, it's going to have more fiber. I've got my 3 cups of water boiling, and I'm just going to add my polenta. So I'm going to ask you to be the whisker. You be the whisker, and I'll be the dumper. And you want to kind of move quickly because it will plump up pretty quickly. Mix that all in there.
And just keep stirring continuously.
Just keep stirring until those clumps go away. I'm not doing the work today. So this is boiling, so you're going to turn it down. And polenta does need to cook a little while because the grain is rather firm. It's starting to get thick already. And I'm going to put a lid on that and let that go for about 15 minutes, and I'm going to add some cheese and butter to it. Now it's been about 15 minutes and our polenta is just about done, but I'm going to add a little flavor to it. And I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of shredded Parmesan cheese. You can use whatever kind of cheese you like, whatever makes you happy. I like this because it has a little bit of a sharpness to the flavor. And then I'm going to add not quite a tablespoon of butter. You can put a whole tablespoon in, but I'm always trying to cut the corners where I can and try to save some of those calories. So this is actually 2 teaspoons. Boop. I'm just going to give that a stir. All right, and we're just going to let this sit for 5 more minutes, and then we'll be ready to plate it all up and try it. It's been about 20, 25 minutes, and our polenta is nice and tender, and our lentils are ready. So I'm gonna clear this off, make some room, and then we're gonna put them in a plate and find out if you like it. Okay, now let's start with some of this polenta. Put the lid back here. And you can see it's nice and creamy. That cheese and butter have really incorporated into that. And we're just gonna put this right in our bowl because the lentils are gonna sit right on top of that. And usually I'll put, gosh, like about half a cup in there. And this pot would be enough for 4 servings. And if you need more, just double it, you know, as much as you need. Slide this over here, and we'll bring the lentils over. So those are bubbling away. They smell pretty good, don't they? All right, so I'm gonna just spoon that right there on top of the polenta. There we go, and there's our dish. What do you think?
That's fantastic.
Wanna give it a try?
Absolutely.
Well, before we eat this, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today and for teaching us so much about colon cancer and preventing and awareness. It's so important. So thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you.
There you go. Let me know what you think. Make sure you get some of the polenta in there.
Absolutely.
Might be kind of hot. You good?
You have the chew of the lentils and the soft, creamy polenta. They go great together.
Well, good. I'm glad you like it. I'm sure you'll like it too. And thank you for joining us. Now, if you missed any part of this or want to get any other recipes, check us out on cox11.com or cookingfromtheheart.tv. Don't forget to like me on Facebook. And remember, you don't have to be a trained cook or chef to prepare delicious, healthy meals for your family. You just got to cook from the heart.
Quick digestion absorption.
Mushrooms, they have mushrooms, they have marshmallows.
Right. All those high sugary.
Don't snap your thumb off.
Okay, speed all the way around, Evan.
Cooking from the heart, ABC marker.
More enthusiasm, please.
Huh?
No.
Yeah, you have it. ABC marker.
Sorry.
Don't forget to like me on Facebook. You'll find some interesting tips and cooking advice there. Bleh, that was horrible. And thank you for joining us. And if you missed this or Scheisse. And it tastes a lot better too. You don't have to drink that. What was it? No, that's. Cut all that out. Yeah, never mind.
3, 2.
Put your body there.
Oh, I'm good at stretching out. Helps me get waist number.
It's really healthy stuffs.
Centera Cancer Network.
I put off my colonoscopy thinking I'd never get colon cancer. When I heard the diagnosis, I knew I needed the nationally accredited Centera Cancer Network. Because when it comes to treating colon cancer, it takes a network of trusted physicians with a proven track record and advanced technology and treatment, like minimally invasive surgery and clinical trials.
Skill, experience, technology. The 3 words to remember for one you never want to hear. To learn more, call 888-220-2214.